This fairy tale video is brought to you with the help of my patrons. Hi guys, welcome to another fairy tale video. I will modify Laguna Blue and make a fairy tale wisp. I have always imagined the wisp to be in blue colors, and that is also why I chose Laguna. I wanted a custom hair color and I dyed alpaca fiber in turquoise and pink. This time I wanted to try to make a glue-based wig, and Musiquito's tutorial helped me a lot. I left a link below. I chose a stretchy fabric with a color that fits to Laguna, and I started building the glue layers. And I was trying to get rid of the wrinkles so that the cap will fit perfect. Because of this, I think the first coat is the most important. I was trying my best. I really enjoyed making something different than a rewrote, but next time I will use a bigger brush. I actually made a few caps until I trimmed one the right shape. I even cut a round one like for a ball jointed doll, but I didn't like that you could see the hair plugs. So I used one that covers around the ears. Once it was ready, I started gluing the wefts on, and I was placing them in a similar way to a sewn wig. And I added a few extra strands for highlights. I finished gluing the wefts, and I used my flat iron to settle the hair down and to create the part line. And I also had to cut it because it was messy, and I did a dry cut. I wanted a long hairstyle, so I didn't cut off too much. Before the repaint, I made some modifications. I took off her fins because they don't fit with what I have in mind, and I used epoxy to fill the gaps. I also modded her ears. I want them to look slightly like elven ones. And I filed off any imperfections. I cleaned and sealed her face, and then I started repainting. I want her to have a dreamy and calm expression, and I drew her eyes halfway closed. I wasn't really sure how I want her eyebrows, and I sketched them slightly. I slowly started adding details with paints. This time I didn't make pupils because I want glittery eyes. I wanted the lower lashes to be long, and to make them identical, it was easier to do both eyes at the same time. To make details, I switched to mostly thinned down designer gouache paints. To look more delicate, I use thinned down white paint, so it doesn't stand out too much. Before sealing the face again, I used fine glitter and shimmer powders. I used gloss and glitter powder on the lips, and I did the same to make the eyes. I made a rough sketch of how I imagined the outfit, and I wrote down some ideas. I was thinking of a two-piece dress. For the top I sewed white laces, which can be tied on the back. And for the bottom piece I used feathers. I wanted the ribbon clean without machine stitches, and I glued the feathers. And to look better, I placed over a thin white lace. To match both pieces, I used crystals. I didn't have shoes for her, and I bought a few pairs. I tried with clay too, but nothing fitted with the whole style. I was going to leave her barefoot, but then I got the idea to try to make glass pumps. I used gel to make them, but I didn't record how I sculpted them because it was really difficult, and I was just trying to make it work. One of my patrons had an awesome idea if the shoes didn't work out, to make a tutu or tie a ribbon, but luckily my effort wasn't for nothing. After the paint, to make them shine again, I cured the last clear coat and I decorated them. I want her to have wings and I sketched them on a tracing paper so that I could easily alter them. I did change them a few times until I was happy with the look, and then I just transferred the design on a sheet of paper. I used the pattern to shape the wires, and then I glued them on a colorful foil. To shape them, I cut and melted the ends, but something was still missing and I glued another wire piece to both. Next, I carefully heated the wings with a flat iron because it covers both sides. I did this to bond the foil better and to create curves. I decorated them so everything fits together in the end. Since they're slightly transparent, I wanted to blend them with fine glitters. And then I glued tiny crystals and pearls. I also cured small beads to the ends of the wires and I added feathers. And as a final detail, to be more charming and cute, I glued tiny stars. I used my Dremel to shape her bag for the wings, and even though that it won't be visible once everything is on, I wanted to paint something on it, just to match with the white feathers on the wings. I removed the fins on the arms and I switched the hands with the Frankie ones that I had laying around. I made up a simple background story for her, you can check it in the description. And for this story I made a water drop necklace. I cured a few pieces of glitter, different crystals and pearls in it. I wanted something like an elven hairstyle, and I merged two braids in a half ring that connects in a single long braid. And I curled the hair into flat curls. To finish the style, I added different sizes crystals and I tied a few strands of hair. I made an ear accessory the same way I did with the wings. And I added crystals, glitter and miniature pearls. I left the bottom wire longer so that I can trim it later. After trying it on, I wanted more details on her cheeks to match with it. And I glued the wings on her bag. It was a bit tricky since they kept turning around while the glue was still drying, so I had to be creative. I want to say thank you to my patrons that helped me bring out this video. It wouldn't have been possible without you guys, thank you! And thanks for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe and share with friends, it helps me a lot. See you next time, bye!